Hello and welcome to my Mythic N'zoth tank guide and commentary. This isn't a general guide to the fight, it's specifically focusing on a tank point of view. I'm going to show you some of the footage from one of our recent re-clears of the fight. I'm going to analyse what I'm doing at each moment in time, why I'm doing it, some Brewmaster specific stuff, and also looking at some of the mistakes I made so that hopefully you can avoid it. I hope that this video is of use to you. Full timer, let's go. Right. Pretty standard start here. I'm going to go over to the basher on the right. You see the dark swirly on the floor underneath the basher tentacle. Make sure you're not standing in it. If you are, you will get knocked back and someone else in your raid group who's in melee range will get slapped in the face and die. So make sure you're close but not too close. At this point now, the rest of the raid group is dealing with paranoia. Fortunately as a tank, we're not affected by it anymore since it got nerfed. So I'm free to walk around here. Doing damage to the boss does absolutely nothing right now. The only reason I'm doing it is to throw my keg smash out to reset the cooldown on my iron skin brew to maintain uptime on that. I'm going straight on to the next basher. The really cool thing about cooldowns on this fight, particularly the N'zoth trinket if you got it from heroic, you can have it up for every single void lash. At least we could, because every other one it pretty much dies. And you can alternate defensive if you're not killing them quick enough. Every other one you can defensive and then you can N'zoth trinket the next one. A gateway over here, so I'm in position for the next basher really, well, at the first one there so no one else gets meleeed. It's pretty useful. I'm not going to need another gateway for a couple of minutes at least. This is the next basher. I don't have my trinket. I did use dampen harm during progression as a damage reduction, but eventually we started killing it before it would even use its void lash. This is the next tricky part of the fight. The psychophages start coming in. When you get close to them, you'll see there's the purple swirly. You can't get hit by that or you will lose sanity. Even worse, you see the little swirly afterwards. When they die, that does even more sanity reduction, so don't get hit by that. I've thrown an ox statue out there. You can see it in the distance. That's keeping all the ads away. Again, I don't get paranoia, so I don't have to worry about that. I can focus on the statue, picking up all the ads there. We're all getting dragged in. We've CC'd the sis, that's the best way to do it. You can banish them, you can stun them to stop them spreading if you stun them early enough. This is one of the trickier parts of the fight as a tank. You see the psychophages, they've got the big swirlies, and also when you kill them, the little swirlies. Trying to navigate your way around the basher, staying in melee range, whilst also dodging those purple swirlies. It can be quite difficult. You do get a limited amount of space. Just takes a bit of practice. This next part, they've come out of the Psychos phase as we've dealt with that basher. There's always a couple of little ads left running around. Typically send your tanks out. I always come out with 100 sanity out of that first phase. There's no reason to lose sanity if you're not in the Psychos phase. So I don't need to be stacked up here for the next. I can go out, I can pull the ads out so they don't explode on the raid group. Next up, I'm going to come over to this basher. Same spawns as the first two, and exactly we're going to notice the same pattern where I'm going to go straight over to the basher after this. This is going to be a N'zoth trinket when it starts the void lash. Again, it just lines up really nicely. Paranoias go out, no need to worry about it. Getting over to the next basher, you're going to have to use some sort of movement ability. You don't want a gateway over this time. I use my Transcendence. You don't want a gateway because you're going to have to gateway for Psychos 2 in a minute. So I'm onto the basher, again making sure I'm the first person there. I'm in melee range. We absolutely melt this one. You always want to kill the one first that the tank for the Psychos group is going to go into. We just missed the cast there. And I make my way over to the mine gate. Make sure you dodge these purple things, red things. They're always going off as you want to go into the mine gate. It's very easy to be standing in the mine gate, just waiting to go down, and you get hit by them. So I've thrown a statue out there just to keep the first couple of ads busy. I gateway over, roll, and instantly throw my crucible out to pull Psychos. And then I'm on first kick. This can get quite difficult with all the ads around the first pillar. We assigned the Demon Hunter to stun them all. I could have also leg sweep, but make sure, because they all explode on the first thing. The tricky part about this phase is obviously you're moving between the synapses. And the ads are also sort of exploding around you, and you can't move away from the synapse when the ads are exploding, so you've got to make sure you CC them well, you interrupt them, and you keep moving quite fluidly. One of the more important parts about this phase is right now. I'm actually going to pause it right here. What happens here is on the 4th synapse in the Cycus 2, you can see our route up here. In the 4th synapse, he will start casting Creeping Anguish. If you kill the 4th synapse quickly and you start moving before he's finished the Creeping Anguish cast, the anguish will cover your bodies from when you've gone into the phase. You have to drop that Creeping Anguish, the 2nd Creeping Anguish, on the 4th synapse. That's so important. You can't... We actually had to slow DPS a lot during progression, where we'd literally have to stand on that synapse for sort of 4 or 5 seconds and just wait and don't kill the 5th one. Tell your DPS to slow down if you need to, but you can't move the boss before that anguish goes down. I can't stress that enough. There you go. Once he does drop the anguish, the timing's worked out quite well here. I didn't have to wait too long. We carry on to the route, the 5th. I'm constantly speed taunting the boss between synapses, just a cool thing monks can do. Interrupts here are really important. I made a giant weak aura so I could always track when it's my kick. And the Ox statue is incredible. Look at it over there in the distance. You can see it just tanking all the ads by itself. The healers will take aggro. I can't stress that enough. The healers will get aggro from the ads because you're not really killing them other than the first couple. You're focusing on the synapses and on Cycus. Normally our route is 8 synapses. We dropped down to 7 because we got 2 Destro Warlocks that with Havoc were just annihilating the boss. And the Corruption Vendor came out, so we had a lot of damage. When we come out of the phase, we're all stacked up here. I didn't do Cycus too well. If you do the Cycus phase correctly, you should come out with 40. It does exactly 60 sanity loss. I came out with 25, so I obviously got hit by a couple of things. But not the end of the world. I'll pop back to 100 in a second. We've stacked up, the 2 ads come out. It's important you get aggro here. Coordinate with your tank which one's which. If they do hit a raid member, they will instantly one-shot your raid member. So we killed them, we started killing them. We lost this point, we started killing them before they even got a cast off. That's not necessary. You can just use an extra neck there. You'll see our synapse pools are not fantastic. They don't have to be because of just where the damage is at the moment. You can kill it and you can afford to be a bit sloppy. I use my Transcendence to get straight back into here. This was we didn't have set positions, it was a bit of a free-for-all going on here. It was just get into space and drop your puddles. One thing you can do to conserve space, and what we did, is stack the tanks up on the Evoke Anguish. One little thing on this pit particularly, remember tanks don't get paranoia, so I just get out of the way. Everyone else is trying to find their partner. I don't want to run over my raid members. I just run as far away as I can. And then this is where I stack up the tank. Stacking up, there is damage. There is no extra sanity loss, but the tanks can take the damage. So we stack up just to sort of use up, maximize that space. And it also means the ads are always spawning on top of each other. Do be careful about aggro. Obviously, as a tank, when you pick up the ads and then move away from them, everyone else is nuking them, so they will pick up aggro as you're sitting out of that circle. And quite often in progress, they'd run off and just go and hit a raid member. This was quite a niche little strat we did. We found we had just too much sanity, which was a nice luxury to have. I was always at 100 at this point, and so was the other tank. So we'd soak, we'd split them slightly, and we'd soak one tank in each, and we'd both get a 50, and we had 4 immunities in the middle. If we had 5 immunities, which would have been nice, we could have just whacked all 5 in the middle, and just had a complete immunity soak. But because we only had 4, we stuck a tank in each circle, and it worked. But you don't have to do that, it depends on sort of your raid group. One thing I am going to do here is I'm going to drop my Transcendence, so when I get out of the gateway I can come back quickly. I'm going to go into the gateway a couple seconds before everyone else. That's so I can just sort of speed taunt the ad, get it over to the spawn for when everyone else drops in, because they will come in a couple of seconds later. This is a really easy phase. It took us 3-4 attempts to actually get it down in the secret phase. You'll probably kill it within your first couple of tries inside here. There's a big ad that you tank. There's a tank swap mechanism that I'll highlight in a second. Dodge some purple swirlies, assign the bombs. Again, that's a more general thing that your raid leader will have to deal with. This is the tank debuff. I think it's called Event Horizon or something like that. You get a giant purple swirly around you. You just got to run it out of the raid group and don't drop it on one of the bombs. You also have to get healed over full or over this set amount to drop the debuff off. So make sure you run out, you get healed, it comes up, and the other tank will taunt whilst you've obviously run away. And yeah, just remember not to drop it on top of a bomb because it will explode the bomb. We managed to kill it before we got the last set off. So out we go. Notice I do actually have the debuff on me, so it's important that I still get a bit of extra heals as I come out. I've instantly transcendenced over. There is a really cool script you can get, which I do recommend if you don't have Transcendence. I'll put it in the description below. It's like a one-liner, and all it does is enable you to auto-run whilst that cinematic is going. So actually you can get halfway to N'zoth before anyone else can actually normally move. Really, really useful tool. I do recommend it. This is my mistake. We're about to see this eye here. I went across and panicked and came back, and I didn't need to do that. I actually never got hit by a single beam on all of progress. This was the first one I got hit by. I don't know why. I panicked and I couldn't decide which way to go. My best advice to you is just chill. You get so much time with the beams, it doesn't really matter too much which side you are. I had space to be on either, and I flip-flop back and forth. So don't do that, be careful with them. So we dropped those anguishes over on the right, and then Feltopia and I, the other tank, we're going to be over on the left here. And that's mainly because we're going to drop these anguishes, or the raid group is, over on the right, and the tank and I are going to go over on the left. And what this does is we're going to conserve a little bit of extra space, and also the ads are going to spawn away from the raid group. This is really important because this is the soak we're going to fail. You fail the soaks, you get the sanity buff. So everyone's going to go insane here. We were on the opposite side so that the ads are just away from the raid group, and melee don't have to move, or range don't have to move to just carry on DPSing the boss. We just keep the ads away. And this is a really tight squeeze here to actually get the DPS check in. We were close to a wipe. It wasn't our cleanest pull by a long shot. But that's the fight. I hope I sort of explained a little bit. It's the first time I've sort of done anything like this. And I hope I broke down the fight well enough. If you've got any questions, do let me know in the comments. Thank you for sticking around and watching it if you made it this far. And yeah, just let me know what you think. I'm happy to do more of the stuff. I've just got beta access. I'm going to start testing some of the tanks on beta. Maybe look at doing some sort of guides if that's of interest. We'll see. Anyway, thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.